You spent 20 hours interviewing Vladimir Putin, I think more than any Westerner ever, probably. Polls in the last year have shown a growing sense among Americans that Russia is our chief enemy. Do you think Russia sees us that way?
I would say that comes because of media pressure and the amount of interviews given by the government calling them the #1 existential threat. The military commanders have said.
What's the motive there? Why would the press?
Our motive?
Yeah, why you're saying that the American press is creating antagonism where it doesn't naturally exist? Why would they do that?
The American government, and whether the American press is to a sense corporate media and represents a corporate government point of view. It's in our interest to have enemies. Russia always been an enemy for the most part.
But it's liberals who are mad at you for making this film. It is. I've seen an hour of it, and it is friendly. But they're attacking you as a lapdog of Putin that you've sold out. I mean, you've gotten a hostile reception from the American left. I always thought of you as a part of the American left.
It goes to show you that nothing is what it seems. You know, there's all kinds of fracturing. There is a progressive left, and much of the progressive left divorced from Hillary Clinton in the election. People like myself went third party. The reason was that she essentially had become, in the last 20 years, has become a neoconservative. She has backed all the neocon, basically the invasion of Libya, the destruction of Libya, which is crucial. She backed the Iraqi war resolutions. She has been a major figure in attacking the Syrian sovereignty, the sovereignty of the Syrian government. This is very important. So, in a sense, we've destroyed the sovereignty of these countries in the Middle East. It's Libya, Iraq, and now Syria, or we're trying to destroy Syria. Very important. If this crumbles, the Middle East crumbles. And the world order, which is very important to Mr. Putin, a sense of law, a sense of fundamental principles, has gone out the window. He talks about it.
Well, if I can say, that's the opposite of the way he's presented here as someone, he's presented as an autocrat who doesn't care about law, and by the way, who hacked our democracy and undermined our elections.
We don't know that. We're told that. And
do you believe that?
You're jumping around, Tucker, but we have to have evidence of this. There's thin amount of evidence, and it's been told to us by 3 agencies, the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI. It was told to us in January, a few days before Mr. Trump came into office. It was called an assessment. Thin. The report itself, if you read it, as I think Stephen Cohen has pointed out to you, is not an intelligence estimate. It doesn't have dissent, doesn't have the kind of information that is required. It's kind of as Cy Hirsch said, it was a joke. And he faults John Brennan, the head of the CIA, as creating a fear and a paranoia without evidence at a time in a transition when it's very important in American democracy that we trust our leaders. So Trump was, in a sense, slapped in the face with 2 weeks to go. I mean, this thing is serious. It's calling Trump essentially a Manchurian candidate. That's as hostile as it's ever been in a transition.
But you've seen that again and again. I mean, there was just a story out that the investigation into Trump, headed by former FBI Director Robert Mueller, apparently FBI agents are leaking details of that investigation to the press. And you're seeing leaks from all the different intel agencies against the administration. Seems like they're trying to change their policies.
That's correct.
Does that surprise you?
Well, the overtness of it does. If the investigation were to continue, which it probably will, I think that they have to go back to the origins of that leak in January. Who put out that information? Who gave it to the New York Times or Washington Post back channel? You have to ask these questions. It seems as if some people have said, and I tend to agree, the deep state, the military-industrial complex, the intelligence agencies, have their own position and have had it for many years, and they continue to promote the wars that they do in all these countries. And even Obama said, well, I want to close Guantanamo, I want to cut down on Afghanistan, I want to do this and I want to do that. He didn't do it. You have to ask yourself, who is running the country?
Doesn't the president get to decide the policies?
You'd think so. You'd think so, but I think we need a thorough examination of what's going on. I'm shocked at what the CIA did and what Brennan did. It seemed like he was very hostile to Trump, very hostile, and I think Comey carried it out. It was Comey, if anybody, influenced the election, in my opinion. It was Comey's declaration that the investigation on Clinton had been dropped, and then he reopened it 3 weeks or 2 weeks before.
Have you talked to President Trump in the last year or so?
No, I directed him in a film, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps. And it was a deleted scene, not his fault, but it was interesting to work with him for that day as an actor.
Thanks a lot for
Maybe
joining
he's
us.
still an actor.
Oliver Stone, good to see you.
Thank you, Tucker, for giving me the time.